All right, so let's get started. This is the final presentation of the students for Google Summer of Code for 2021 for the Pazios Foundation. And we're going to have a number of the students discussing their projects over the last period of GSoC. And so we're going to start with Ritik, then we're going to go with Utkarsh, Rutvik, Sumitra, Yasharth, and then we're going to have some closing stuff. And hoping that we can get some of the mentors to come on. It's a little late for them, but I'm going to make sure that we can get them on fairly soon. All right, so let's get started. So Ritik, if you wouldn't mind, you can do your presentation and see what goes from there. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone in the US time, and good morning to all the Indian students. I'm sharing my screen. Please let me know if it's visible to all.
Yes, we can see it.
We can see it.
Okay. Thank you. So this is my second evaluation report for the Pazios Foundation under the project Talawa. I've been assigned as a mentor, the Sagar Professor, and the goals for the second evaluation would be discussed later. I would like to brief the evaluation for phase 1. In evaluation phase 1, I worked under the topics like code migration. This involved migration of deprecated code from Flutter 1.2 to 2.2, removal of unused dependencies that were not used in the project, and the third point that I covered in this task was opting for all the null safe dependencies that were newly used in the project. The fourth point that covered was the use of all the dependencies that we previously had to the null safe latest version. Fifth point contains the replication or implementation of the new login or sign up flow that we discussed in the initial phases of the mid discussions. The sixth point that I covered was the UI UX design that we discussed in the initial discussion meetings. The seventh point that was discussed that I achieved in this task was to have the dependency injection for the fast compilation of the code base. And the last point that I covered in this task was the more MVVM approach for the design pattern of architecture. So I would like to now demonstrate the things that covered in this task. The things that were covered were you can see the clean architecture. In this architecture, we have the MVVM. We have 3 folders for basically that deals with most of the functionality of the code base. The 2 folders that you can see are services and utils. These only contains the calls that are being made to the network and all the utility files that we need for backing up everything. So that we can communicate with the servers and maintain the data locally as well. On the right side, you can see we have used all the dependencies that have the null safe versions. If they were in the pre-built versions as well, then still also we have used the null safe version so that we have the null safety in the code base, and we don't leave or mess with the production versions to have any null pointers or any null values in production version. And the last thing that was covered was the flow or the UI. These both things were covered simultaneously. So over here you can see the UI is something like this when we are in the light mode or the light version of the application, and the flow will be I haven't created the flow demo videos exactly for this one. You can see in the other detailings because they are almost replicated every time. The second point that I covered was the deep linking. Deep linking basically allows the application to open the links that are created for the application specific. So after the implementation of deep linking, we have created some grounds for future implementations as well, and the current implementations that we have done are the invitation of organization to send to the people who are already the user of Talawa, or maybe they may not be the user of Talawa. Depending upon both the scenarios, we can have the functioning of the application that is biased. So we have another form of organization joining, that is a QR based organization join. This can be done from for new users from the set URL page, and for the existing users it can be done from the join organization page that is there when they are already logged in. So I would like to demonstrate over here the sign up via invite link. When someone sends me an invite link, so on the right left hand side you can see the device, that is my device, and on the right is the my friend's device. So on the device that I am using right now, you can see I'm like signing in into the Talawa. So here I have inputted the URL, selected the organization. So I basically had the account previously made, so I'm logging in into the account. After logging in, I'll share the invite link to my friend's device. From there, he can open that link, and that link will directly open inside the application. So this is the QR. You can directly join by a QR, but I'll share over here the URL to him right now. So here I have shared the URL to my friend. Now on the right, the device will become active. Now I'm opening the link that I sent to the my friend's device. This link directly opens inside the Talawa application, and everything is pre-set up. The user needs to only sign up by giving his or her details. After signing up, he will already join the organization that I was in. So you can see we both joined the same organization, that was the GSoC. Now I'll like to demonstrate the next invitation methods, that is invitation method via QR scan. As previously shown, the QR code is already here. My friend just used his device to scan this QR code, and he already joined that organization, that is GSoC. You need to only select and continue with the sign up details. Rest everything in this flow is same. The third point that I covered in the phase 2 evaluation was donations. In donations, basically we had this flow that user can donate any amount that he wants to the organization. He is given some pre-inbuilt donations like 1, 5 and 10 depending upon the currency that he selected. By default, the donation amounts are shown in dollars. If he wants to change the currency, he can change the currency. Currently, we support 92 currencies that can be paid on the application. These support will increase depending upon the Razorpay gateways implementation. The other thing that it can be done is the multiple payment support methods. Depending upon the account setup on Razorpay, we can enable multiple types of payment methods like card payments, wallet payments, subscriptions, pay later, EMIs, etc., whichever the user wants, the organization admins want. So these things can be implemented. Here is the currently this feature is under production and it's not complete to end because of the time consistency, and we are pending on the admin panel. So we are working. We will be working post GSoC as well on this topic. Here is the implementation on the Android side for the donation feature. So over here you can see our bottom sheet has appeared, and I can change the currency. Currently I will be opting only for USD. In the other demo I will be opting for another currency. So here I have opted for like Chinese yen, and I've made a transaction of 10 Chinese yen. My card was already saved, so I can, like, this is the dummy card and the test key is being used, so I can use any kind of thing like success or failure to be done. Based on this, you can see at the bottom in the dashboard of Razorpay, I have got an amount of 10 yen at 27. This was the exact time that the payment was made, and you can verify the email ID as well. And the Android demo, you can see the email ID is given test0608@gsoc.com. In the dashboard also, you can see the email ID is here given as test0608@gsoc.com. Now I would like to show the iOS demonstration. This is the iOS part. So in this one, I have selected the USD currency. I haven't changed it. Based upon this, now after this, maybe I guess it cannot record due to certain limitations of iOS platform. So we were not able to record this thing further, I guess. But maybe let's see. I tried to get this one. So I have to add a card here because I used a different account. So the test card was like 4 and 13 times 1, 15 times 1. And the expiry date can be used any forwarded date. You can use any name and any CVV for test cards. We can save the card as well, but I skipped in this version. And I got this option to successful or failure the payment. So you can see the payment ID is also appearing. The payment ID is saved over here in this platform as well. In the iOS demo version, you saw that I opted for $12. So in the dashboard also, it's showing me $12, and the email ID is also shown over here. Some more crucial data is also being exported to the dashboard for implementation to the admin panel, so that we can retrieve the user information and the organization information as well. And that I'll be showing you after the presentation. The fourth point that I covered was the app tours. Basically, app tours are something that some guides that help the newly onboarding users to see or see the insights of the application and functioning of the application. In this feature, I've given the user the right to skip at any time, and he can skip at the starting as well, because the feature standards for worldwide are something that majority of the applications firstly don't use these things that are renowned, but renowned platforms always have vast users, so they don't care for new users. But we are a newly growing application startup, or we can say open source contributions. So we have to depend upon new users as well. for the growth of the Talawa. Hence, we have taken care of this thing that we don't imply the users to have the app tours to be done compulsory. They can skip them at all at once, and they also have the feature to skip them at any time. So here is the demonstration on Android side. This app tours are only exclusive available only for the fresh signups, not for logins. So that only these things are shown for the first time, the person who is signing up to them. So on the left hand side, I'm signing up on an Android device. So over here you can see I've got an option to skip or start the test, like the tour, and I've opted for starting the tour. And now you can see it's demonstrating me every part. It's not going on its own. I can click on anywhere of the screen so that I can go next. And if I want to skip, then I can skip at any time by clicking on the top right corner button, skip, and it will skip the demo at that time on that page itself. So it has some around 15 to 20 options to be shown. These numbers are thought to be reduced based on the suggestions and inputs from other mentors as well. So you can see like it's demonstrating each and every part, like what each and every part does. So this is the demonstration on Android side. Now I'll show the demonstration on the iOS side.
Ritik, you have about 2 minutes.
Yeah, sure, sir. It's almost done, sir. I'm fast forwarding it. So over here I've completed the form and I've opted to sign up. Now I've got an option over here as well to start the demo. So it was done to demonstrate the light version. So in light mode, the visuals are something like this. So I guess it's almost clear on this point. The next point that I covered was automated testing. This included the GitHub actions and testing of the code base locally as well. So I have added some new GitHub actions. Previously, GitHub actions were used with the tokens. The new GitHub actions that I've inculcated don't use the tokens of the repository, and it is also given that I have added the push actions as well, so that we reduce the number of people making PRs that are having conflicts, or they are not having the GitHub actions pass successful. So in this case, whenever the new contributors are pushed to their own folks, they can see the GitHub actions running on their repositories, their forked repositories, and after having all the actions being passed, they can create a PR so that the mentors of the organization can easily merge the new pull request. The other thing that was covered in this point was previously the application was not building on iOS due to some dependencies that were not used properly, and their integration was not done on iOS part. Hence, the application was not building. That was fixed in this task. I added the test cases for the pre-authorization state, and the current code coverage is 30%. I've also added the GitHub actions for building the iOS bundle and Android APK, so that we can reduce the reduce the number of conflicts that are caused sometimes due to using the different versions of dependencies, and these causes may help in reducing the number of breakages in the application. So this is the thing that was covered. Here is the picture of the new workflow, and this workflow is very fast and efficient as in terms of checking the errors. If there is any action that is failing, that can be quickly noticed by the user, so that in this flow it is done. And over here, I have currently set it to minimum 25, but and I've tested it locally as well. It's more than 30%, around 32% of code coverage is done. So this was the last point that I covered in the phase 2 evaluation. And thank you all to all the mentors, Saga Utkarsh sir and Peter sir, basically, and the other mentors as well. And I would also like to thank all my fellow contributors as well.
All right.
Anyone is,
yes.
If anyone has any doubt, we can.
Yes. So thank you very much. That was very interesting. Does anybody have any questions for Ritik today? Any mentors? Anybody?
No, none for me. I think that Ritik did a very good job at presenting everything that he's done just now.
Okay, so Ritik, I have a question. For the donations, do you have a plan, or are there issues, or is there the capability to handle recurring monthly, quarterly donations so that you don't have to keep adding or doing the contributions manually?
Yes. So, Razorpay gives the support for subscription plans as well, as we have Amazon Prime subscription or YouTube subscription. So, same as that, Razorpay also gives us the ability to subscribe for the payments that recur by their own, and the users can withdraw from that subscription at any point of time. So these things can be inculcated, but due to the current limitations that I was not able to set up an business account with Razorpay due to the documentation part, so I cannot test those features. This is the current limitations. Hence, I requested you for providing me a business account for Razorpay as well.
Okay, that's good. So that at least provides me with some understanding as to why the request was made, because I was wondering about it, and that gives me some good guidance for later on. The other thing that I wanted to find out from you was, we had spoken about making this a type of plugin. How successful were you to get that done, and how repeatable do you think that would be?
Basically, sir, currently we have the graph endpoints ready in the API. There are one or two endpoints that are still remaining from the API side that needs to be made. And based on the request that you provided me, was that to keep all the data to the APIs as well, so that if in future we want to navigate, or we want to shift from Razorpay to any other payment gateway, then we don't lose that previous data, and we have that data in the APIs as well. So those endpoints are still under consultation with Sumitra, and those endpoints require webhooks and other things as well to be made, so that we can have authorized payments only stored in the Talawa APIs. The other thing is that currently there is a limitation with the admin panel, because it's only designed for right now super admins, and the implementation for super admins in the donation feature is only this much, that super admins can enable and disable the feature for all the admins, and the super admin can do one more thing, that is to set up an universal plugin gateway, or plugin data for every organization if the organization has then set up their own plugin data. So that is a fallback every time. So these things are pending from the API side. Currently, the API is providing the mutation to save the plugin data and the query to fetch the data.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. So Sumitra has raised his hand. Sumitra, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, to the best of my knowledge, the concern that came to me was regarding the creation of the mutation itself and to keep it flexible. So that is the reason why I have created in such a way that you can actually store any key value pair in the schema, like design the schema in such a way that you can store any key value pair there. So on my part, that is the request which I received, and accordingly I built that mutation. So I'm not aware of, Ritik, what you are talking about right now.
Basically, I was talking about the further implementations regarding the basically storing the post-payment data to the API server. And the other part was to enable and disable this feature. If there is a super admin who is logged into the admin panel, then he can enable other admin organizations to disable and enable this feature whenever they want.
So, okay, sure. Create the request for it on the the repo, and we will for sure look into it.
Yeah, sure. I guess the data issue is already existing over there. If it's not, I'll mark as well, and if it's there, I'll add a comment over there.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thanks. We are out of time. So Ritik, thank you very much. And the next person up is going to be Utkarsh. Utkarsh, please get ready. Ritik, if you could stop presenting so that Utkarsh could do his thing, that'd be really great.
Okay, is the screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So good morning everyone, and this is regarding the GSoC second evaluation. Now before moving on to the contributions in the second evaluation, I'll quickly go through what I've done in the first one. So the first phase, I have mainly created UI and added some functionality that were necessary and basic. So I've added few pages, I've coded them, and I've also added the theme class. So basically all the colors and textiles, they were separated from the main UI, so we don't have to hard code it again and again. This kind of gave the modularity in app, and we now know which colors to use where because of it. Also some minor features like deleting an event, editing an event, it was done in the first phase itself. Now moving on to the second phase. So in the first phase the dark theme was added, but it was the app used to pick the theme from the user's system and it was not persistent. So there was a need to add a switch so that we can toggle between dark and light theme, and I've done it here, and the theme is now persistent. So I'll play the demo video now. Okay, so you can see the app setting page has been added and there's a dark themes. So okay, just 1 second. And by default the theme of the app is dark, and so when you install the app you get the app in dark theme, and based on your preference you may change it to light theme, but usually everyone uses dark theme currently, so in very rare cases user might change it to light theme. dark theme has been applied throughout the entire app. And yeah, by persisting, I mean now I have completely closed the app. Now I'll start the app, and since I selected dark theme before closing that, the light theme before closing that, so now the app will open in the light. So yeah, theme is like the default, dark theme is turned off. And yeah, this was for the theme switching. And next thing was adding search functionality for the events. So I'll just play the demo video and speak while it's running. So you can see the search button, it's not visible here because if the events are empty, the search button will not be visible. So this is just to prevent user from checking on the events that are actually not there. I mean, the events they are still not loaded. So once the events are completely loaded, search button will appear there. So yeah, search button has been appeared. And to be more intuitive, for the search to be more intuitive, when the user keeps on typing letters, the letters in the event title can be highlighted, and one search, it is based on the event title. So you can see it's highlighting while the user is typing. Another example, let's type question here. If it goes wrong, it will disappear. So yeah, after searching the events, I can perform normal functionalities on it, like if I am the creator of event, I can edit or delete the event, and if I am just another user, I can register to that event. And clicking on that cross button, it will bring us back to the explore events page. This was there for the search event functionality. Now, as per the new UI, there was a functionality to add members while creating event, and this needs to be done by the event creator. So for that, I have added this. So you can see two buttons are there. So add admin to add admins while creating event, and add members to add members while creating the event. I have to press on them, and a bottom sheet will appear. The bottom sheet, it will have names of all the members of the current organization. So you can see these are all the members in the current organization, and I have to check or uncheck them to add in the list. So I'm checking few of them, and then I'll press done. So you can see the admins are added. The only difference between this and the UI that was created earlier is that it's blue here, and I've done it in the primary accent color. So if it needs to change, yeah, that will be done easily. And likewise, I can add members as well. So members and admins both are added, and to remove them, I have to press on this cancel icon, and they will be unchecked from that list that we saw right now. Yeah, we are removing it. And that was it for the add members. And one more thing. So if you see here, only the first letter is there for the user's name, but as per the new we should also have an user's image present over there. So because currently the functionality for storing the profile image is not there, in the front end and back end as well, so it can be displayed. So once it is done, it will automatically have here. I have done changes in code to ensure that. Next thing, added a functionality to register for event. So by default, the events were not registerable. So in the new UI also you can see the events were not registerable by default. I have changed that to registerable. And if the events are not registerable, they can't be registered and user can see not registerable when he tries to register for them. And so a registered badge is also added similar to this when you are registered to that event. So now there's event, Elon's page. It is not registerable. And if I am the creator of event, I am already registered for that event. So I won't see the not registerable, registered or unregistered buttons there. What I will see is the button to delete the event or edit the event, because as a creator of event, I am already registered for that. So this was not registerable. Let's register for another event. So the event I placed on the register, it's registered. The status is shown here as well as on the badge. I'm registered for this event. I have registered. You can see here at the bottom it's not visible due to that bar. And now since I said that if I am the creator of event, I am also registered for that event. So just to avoid confusion, I have also added a creator badge. Like I said in the previous slide, I have added the registered for registered ones. And you can sort, you can filter out these based on if you have created the event or if you have registered that event or the event is public or not. So in the video, created event, only one event has been created. It's showing that. Registered event, user has registered for multiple events and this will show registered events. Public events, these are basically have the name says. And private events, there aren't any private events. So in such case, so it will, for this filter it's showing there are any private events. So if there weren't any public event, it would have shown that, and the same applies for created and registered as well. Okay, and I've added placeholder images and functionality to crop images. So request was done to have this functionality, but the API was not ready. And it was better to do it from the front end side, so that when the API gets ready for that, you can quickly add the images and pass them in the mutation. So I've added placeholder images for events, create events and explore events. So adding images and while creating the event. So when you pick an image, it gives an option to crop the image, and you may crop it according to your needs. Currently there are two aspect ratios. So there's one original and second one is 1:1. It's crop image functionality, so you can basically change the aspect ratio as in. I've added this image and I can remove this as well. This is basically an extension of event services. And now moving on to the profile, user profile. You need to change it from the profile page. So you can add, if you don't like the image, you can just remove it, or if you previously have an image, you can change. So just click here to remove it and it's done. Now the next thing, quick action functionality. So nowadays, many social media apps and retail store apps, they offer this functionality of quick events. So basically, what you can do with that is you can directly navigate to a certain screen without opening the app. That is, you can do it just by long pressing the icon, and the app will give you options to navigate to certain things. Currently, I have added 3 there. So yeah, LinkedIn has it. You can go, but if someone wants to add post screen, I'll do it. So you can move directly to events page, newsfeed page, or the chat screen, that is the messages page, directly by pressing the icon. So I'll move first to the messages page, that is the chat page. So yeah, now directly I am here in the chat screen, and by default, if you open the app, you go to the home screen. But here, as you can see, I am in the chat screen because I have selected that shortcut from the home app icon. And alternatively, you can also long press on the icons and then use them anywhere. So now I don't even have to press on Talawa. I can directly press this icon to go to the chat screen. I have opened event screen. It will directly take me to the event screen now. Yeah, so I am in the explore events. I'm on the explore events page. And by default, like I said, you go on the newsfeed page. So I have not picked up any other application.
Utkarsh, you have 2 minutes.
Yes, I have done. I'm done. Yeah. And yeah, so that was it from my side for this presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Does anybody have any questions for Utkarsh? Okay, so I do have a question. Utkarsh, with the events, is it possible, I'm not very familiar with the creation of events, but is it possible for you to create an event that is completely private, only visible to people who've been invited?
Those as of now, there are no endpoints for that, but yeah,
Okay.
it can be done because now we have the UI for adding members. So if the event is private, we simply add these many people, and we restrict other people from entering the event.
Right, so it's not just entering the event, but also seeing the event as well. Because there may be certain types of meetings or events that people may not want to know who are the attendees. So some types of events may be very sensitive. And I can give you an example. Suppose there are people using Talawa and a subgroup of them are a part of a drug addiction group who want to talk about their experiences. The others in the organization may not want to see that, or maybe the members of that group may not want others to know that they're in this meeting. So there are legitimate reasons for that. So we may want to consider adding that as an issue for the Talawa API / the mobile app as well. So that now that I've seen this, I started to wonder. So you don't necessarily need to have an answer right now, but it's good that you showed this to us, because that is something that we can think of. All right. Is there anybody else who has anything to comment or say about this? Yes, Sumitra, please go ahead.
the point which you mentioned, Peter, there hasn't been any discussion regarding adding such features for the event case. So I request Utkarsh to actually create an issue on this so that I can resolve and complete it.
Right.
Sure, I'll create an issue.
Yeah, it's something that we haven't thought of, but I think it would be a good thing to add. So thank you very much for you guys to collaborate on that. Ritik, please go ahead. You've raised your hand.
That quick action functionality, does it create an alias of the application, or does it simply creates a new activity that launches directly inside the app? As you just drag and drop that thing after log pressing.
It creates a new activity. So basically, by default, you are going to the main screen, right? And the index for main screen is 0 for newsfeed page.
Yeah.
And the quick action functionality, one more thing I forgot to say, the functionality is available only if the user has been registered for an organization and the user has logged in. So unless a user has logged in or he has been a part of at least one organization, you won't be able to use that functionality, because in that case you are not taking user to the main screen. So
yes.
Won't make sense, right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there are no other questions, I think it's time for Rutvik. So Rutvik, please get ready. Thank you very much, Utkarsh. That was really good. It's insightful. I'm really glad to see the progress that we have made, and I hope that we can start to see ongoing types of contributions to the Talawa mobile app and the API itself. All right, here we have Rutvik. Please go ahead.
Hello everyone. So in phase 1, I have worked with the UI part. I, Utkarsh and Ritik designed UI in Figma. So in phase 1, my major work went into the creation of UI and initializing the architecture of the application. So in phase 2, the things that I have done was now there is a proper separation of UI and business logic. Another thing is it is now the folders are really structured. So whenever a new collaborator wants to contribute to our project, it is really easy to contribute because everything has its own folder. So suppose if and also it is now easy to scale this application. So suppose if we want to add a new screen, we just need to include a new view model or new view, and we need to bind those things. So now the MVVM architecture is really scalable, and now the contribution phase, the learning part of the contribution phase is really easy for the new collaborators. And before the GSoC period, there were a lot of code duplication, but now if you see the whole code base, there are no code duplication. Everything is working with class and objects. So that is one thing that I have focused on in the phase 2. And another thing is we have a separate third library party function. So suppose if we want to exchange any package, so it is really easy now to exchange the package because it has an own abstract class for that. Another thing that I worked on in phase 2 was auto playing of videos. So previously, up to in phase, there are no media containers in the post, but now you can see all the media containers. So there can be multiple types of media, that is video posts. So now the video will automatically play according to which post user is seeing now on the screen, and only only the data regarding this screen is visible to the user. So like suppose there are 3 posts and this is the second post. So the video data and the memory consumption and the internet. So these are the 2 things that I have really focused on, because we are catering to large number of devices. So only the second number of posts will have the video data, and the rest of them will be not having any video data. So this is implemented using recycler type, like Android have its own recycler type list, but Flutter did not have that. So I have implemented using a third-party library. So now the video in the autoplay mode, we can also mute and unmute the video just by tapping the video part. So let me. So here you can see that the above video pause, and this is playing according to which post is being seen on the screen. So this was the major task that I did, and another thing that I did was implemented a least recently used cache implementation. So it is really like somewhat technical to explain, but so like manipulating a list takes order of n times complexity, where n are the number of items in a list. So I want to take this sender 8 and put it in the front of the list. So it will like the normal implementation takes order of 1, but with least recently used cache implementation, all the operations on a list, that is update, delete, insert. So all these operations takes only order of 1 time complexity. So with also having a large number of chat lists the user have, it's really fast now to modify the list. So that was the thing. And like as we all familiar with the chat application, that suppose I got a message in the sender from the sender 7, so it will automatically pop up to the front of the list, also in order of 1 time complexity. So this was the least recently used item will be pushed down to the end of the list. So that was one implementation that I did in the chat page, and like the all. It is now not currently connected with the Stream subscription, but once I will create an issue, we can have that. Like all the functionalities are there, we just need to connect to Stream subscription for the chat stream. And it also stores the last location, that like suppose I have moved the list up to this, and even if I change this the page, it will still contain this position. So that another feature was that. Another thing that I did was when you are creating a post, now you can directly take your media from the library, from the gallery, or you can directly take your media through your camera, and also the preview will be shown. Like once I can image, the preview will be shown here, and there are also a cross button. So if you want to remove that your selected photo, so you can remove it from here. So this was done using image picker library, and yeah, these are the main things. So another few improvements that I did was like we are currently heavily working with the streams in our application. So I make sure that every stream is properly getting disposed. So that is one thing that the user that is something which improves the memory management for the application. Another thing is unit testing is now really scalable with Mockito. So I have set up Mockito in phase 1, and now with a proper stubbing functionality, one can easily write unit tests. Another thing that I worked on is the post have likes and dislike counts for every post. So before it was in the view model itself, but I have shifted it to the service. So a proper state management has been taken care in this like dislike state. And there were also some bug fixes in my part, UI bug fixes. So I have fixed those bugs. So yeah, thank you everyone. That's all from my side.
Thanks a lot, Rutvik. Does anybody have any questions for Rutvik? Rutvik, I had a question related to the caching mechanism that you have. Do you think there's any reason or possibility or use case for using that in some of the other areas of the mobile app?
Yes, sir. I have thought of that. So in the Utkarsh part, there is also an event list. So wherever the lists are there and needs manipulation inside a list, like updating, inserting of those kind of things. So we can use my written code there also.
Yes, because I was wondering about that. When we did the demo a little earlier on the event search, some of it looked a little slow. I don't know whether that was because of the nature of the demo, and so I wondered whether there were ways in which we could speed it up. And you mentioned speed was one of the driving factors for you to do this, and so it'd be interesting to see whether we could have a broader application of that technique. That'd be really good. All right, so yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, there are also some advanced data structures like try data structure, so which really improves the search functionality type. So if there are say we can implement those kind of things if we have time.
Yeah, that'd be really good because as we start to get more and bigger data sets, the search functionality is going to need to maintain an acceptable response rate or response time. Okay, so this is really good. Anybody else have any questions before we go on to Sumitra? No? All right, so Rutvik, thank you very much. And Sumitra, please get ready.
Hello everyone. So hi everyone. This is the second phase and the final phase evaluation, where I am going to demonstrate the work that has been done by me in this particular phase itself. So basically, the entire presentation is divided into these two categories: the multilingual support and the backend support. So let me start with the multilingual support thing. When from the start we were building the multilingual support, it was to adapt to the maximum user base capable. So currently there are 8 language packets that has been added, and they cover 1/3 of the world population, which is around 2.5 billion users. So this is the statistics which has been demonstrated on the left side of the screen, where you can see the number of people who speak those particular languages. And on the right side, you can see the implementation which is happening in real time. There is no large time lags as these language changes are very static in nature, and the JSON files are present in the app itself. Now, coming to the implementation of the entire multilingual support, basically apart from the static files that are implemented in the front end, there are some other of couple changes related to the back end also. So for the case of the static files, since we have covered 33% of the world population in terms of languages, so adapting to like switching from a particular language, let's say English to Hindi to any other, let's say Japanese or Spanish, would be very easy as the static JSON files are present in the app. So when it comes to the scaling of app in terms of a large user basis, the experience will be good. It won't be affected by having a very heavy download for the app. So yeah, on the left side of the screen, you can see a demonstration in a particular language, and as soon as we changes to some other languages, the shifts are happening at a very steady pace, and this won't be affected with a large user base. Now, the second part of the language changes are with respect to improving the further user experiences. So let's say when a particular user selects a particular language, we need to ensure that when the user changes his device or like the user opens the app for the second time, those preferences are preserved within the app. So in order to do that, we have make sure both on the backend side and in the local storage side that the user preferences are saved. So let's suppose there is a case when user just open the app for the first time and he selects a particular language. Let's say he selected the Spanish. So once the user selected the Spanish, that preferences will be stored in the local storage itself, which makes it easy for the user that when he log in for the second time, that preferences is already preserved, so he didn't have to actually switch again. Now, in case if a user actually log in or sign up, then we actually take the user mobile language preferences and push that data into the backend, so as to preserve the data that the user is utilizing the app in the EN language code, or let's say HI language code, so that when the user opens the app in some other mobile phones, he can actually initiate the work within that language itself. Now, in the previous video also, we have given a preferences where you can actually change the language by going into the app screen. So app settings screen. So in the settings, when you actually change a language, that data is also updated in the backend. So here is a demonstration of what I am trying to say. Yeah, as you can see, while signing up, this language code of the user will be preserved, and this will be maintained in the app. So, and as soon as a user update a particular language within the app, that data is also preserved in the database through the APIs, which is being demonstrated here. Now, coming to the third part, the entire first two part was with respect to preserving the language preferences. Now, this is related to the language query. When a user actually opens an app, he can the backend actually fetches the data to get the current language preferences and update accordingly. Also, in order to communicate effectively with the other users, we have actually preserving the language, so we can actually display in the chat that the user is more comfortable in using the app in the other formatted language. So for these, the particular APIs have been created, and you can see the demonstration here that by going through my language query, you can get your device language. By going through the user language and providing the user ID, you can get the user language preferences for the other user. And this is the language packet which we have created. in which actually we preserve the entire language, like let's say welcome to the app in the English, and then the user actually save the translation of that language in let's say the Chinese, and through get language query you can actually fetch the entire language packet. So in the get language query you can see the language code has been put ZH, which is Mandarin Chinese. Let's say we can put ES or HI, and the entire packet which is available in the backend will be thrown here. So the language packet does, like, that was the query side of the language packet. There is also a mutation side of it, so which allows the admin to actually create the entire language file, and the entire file, like when the admin will be creating the entire file for a particular set of language, let's say in new language code, just assume XY. So that entire thing will be preserved in the backend, and the super admin has the capability to verify it. What I mean to say is, this is a general mutation which is being created here. As you can see, the admin can actually put the English value, the translation language code, which is here Hindi, and then the translation value. Now, once a admin put that data into the a mutation is created related to it, which stores it here. As you can see, the first Hindi language, it stores the data for that EN value of Sumitra Saksham. Now the admin has the capability to actually add one more packet. Let's say I added ZH, which stands for the Chinese packet here, and just push the code, mutation code here. So one more preferences in the packet is also added. Now previously you have seen a language query where you just provide the language code and the entire set of packet is being fetched there. So when now you provide ZH code there, Sumitra Saksham will also be fetched in this particular Chinese value. Now coming to the second part of my implementation, which is related to the backend support integration. In the backend support, I have added the chat subscription support, the plugin support, and the event related support. In the chat subscription support, we have created a subscription which actually give a user notification in the real time. So as soon as a particular user actually sends a message, the stream actually sends the another user the data for that message instantaneously. Here is the demonstration for that. This is the subscription which is being run, and now a message is being pushed, and as you can see, it is now available on the subscription. Now a second message is being pushed to the user, and it will again be reflected into the subscription. So this will help in establishing a real-time communication between two users. Now coming to the plugin support, one of the most challenging tasks was the plugin support itself, in which let's just say that today we are using Stripe or Razorpay. Tomorrow we also wanted to have an implementation of Google Maps, or let's say some organization want to have an integration of MailChimp. So how to actually make a system where we can actually have as many numbers of plugin support as possible. So I created a schema and given the user the flexibility to actually update the values which they actually want to store for that plugin into our database as per their choice. So basically what I mean to say is, when the user create the plugin, there is a field array which actually provide a key value pair format of schema, where user can actually give their key and the value which they wanted to store for that particular plugin into the database. So let's just say for the MailChimp, we wanted to store a particular email ID, a family email ID, which will always be associated. So we can actually put a key name there and accordingly add the value name. For the Stripe, we might want to add the another particular type of key value pair. Now here also I would like to gather the attention of the key. In the plugin name, let's say I've just put the stripe. I have put the stripe, and I wanted to add some confidential data, which is very important in order to actually use that plugin. So that can be stored in the plugin key. Now we have a plan to actually encrypt the data using the decrypt functionality in the plugin key. That has not been yet done because we are still not sure whether we should do it or not, because we are also thinking of some other way, like doing the hashing part there. But we are going to encrypt this plugin key to store any confidential data. Now, in terms of event support, the event, there are a lot of changes which has been asked by the contributors in terms of handling and creating the event. So those changes have been done in terms of adding the number of registrants and maintaining them in the database. Like previously, we just used to actually pop and push the data of a particular registrant, or pop and push the data. But now actually, once we actually push a data into the registrant category and some registrant tries to unregister himself, then only the status value here gets changed, and from active it is being pushed to the inactive stage. This is actually done to maintain the database information and preserve as many information as possible. This status parameter has also been reflected previously in the language choices also, where when an admin actually create a language packet, the status parameter is present with each translation, which is actually will be utilized by the super admin to verify that the translation has been done very precisely, and based on that, when a particular organization is using that package, he can actually observe that this translation packet is verified, and he can very easily use it. There is no need to worry about that.
Sumitra, you have 2 minutes left.
Yeah. So these are all the queries and updates related to the events. So that's it from my side in the second phase of the evaluation. I'm very thankful to everyone, especially to the Dominic for guiding me throughout the entire journey of this GSoC, and I'm very thankful to all my contributors, Peter, Sagar, and everyone. Thank you. It was a very fascinating experience for me and for all of us. Thank you so much. If anyone has any questions, please throw it.
Thanks a lot, Sumitra. Does anybody have any questions? Sumitra, kudos on the work that you've done. I know that you've been the primary point of contact for a lot of the back-end work. I was also wondering how we're going to be handling the parameters for, how we're going to handle the parameters for the plugins. And I like the fact that you have that fields section where you can have the list of key value pairs. That is one of the things that I was really concerned about, how exactly we were going to do it. So I'm glad that we've found a way around that. Okay. So if there are no other questions, I think it's time for Yasharth. Thanks very much, Sumitra. That was really good.
So hello everyone. I am Yasharth and I am going to begin the second final presentation for my GSoC. So my project was mainly based on the refactoring of the Talawa admin after the first design was changed. So the points covered after the first evaluation are the new design for the Talawa admin, login and sign up of the admin, the super admin, and the Talawa admin, creation, deletion, and updation of the organization, showing the organization list, showing the member list, user list, and admin list, addition and removal of organization admin, along with the creation, deletion, and updation of events, and the removing of the member functionality was also added. To accept and see and reject the membership request was also included, and along with the flow change of the Talawa admin and comment to the code. So the new design of the Talawa admin was made by Soumya, and I helped her in the making of that. It is before Talawa admin design was like it was not compatible with the mobile app design, and it was looking like two other companies have made. So in keeping mind of that, we can see it here. Yeah, if you want to. So yeah, this is the new design made by both of us. So the login and sign up of the Talawa admin was a key feature, as the flow was wholly dependent on this. As there is the one problem, which was like everything was not available for everyone. So super admin was having some different functionalities, and admin was having some different functionalities. So because of that problem, we were getting some more issues. And after adding the user type in the local storage, I was able to cope up with this problem, and now the login is working. And before, we were having two workflows, which was one for the admin and one for the super admin. And keeping that in mind, it was very difficult for us to keep the track of. So I just changed them into the one single pathway, which was relatively easy. The next thing is creation of the organization by the super admin. This option is only available to the super admin, and now the organization could be created and deleted and updated from the Talawa admin only. And this is the way I handled the easy switching of the organization by the super admin, as it was very difficult for the super admin to manage a large number of organizations together. So we were thinking. I was thinking about something like what should we do, and I had some ideas from the WordPress thing. And the idea I got is like showing the just after your login to make sure that which organization the super admin wants to manage, and once he has managed that, he could come back to the same org without login repeatedly and change between the organizations. The second, the next thing was the list of members, admin, and users. Like users is something like all the users, and members are the joining members, and admin are the appointed admin for the things. And we can just change from the radio button on the only one. And the addition and removal of the organization was also added. Like we have this button on the user side, like add admin. So the creation, deletion, and updation of event. Like the event could be created now from the Talawa admins as well, and same as for the deletion. These are the video of some. This is basically the register feature which was added. and this is the login feature. And this is the list I was talking about. And here is the button to create the organization. So here is the created organization. The next one is creation of the event. And here is the same deletion for the event. Thank you. If you have
Okay, that's good. Does anybody have any questions for Yasharth? Ritik, please go ahead.
Like currently in the demo video, we saw that there was an option for the creation of super admin accounts. So from my point, like it's something. Hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So like in the demo, we saw that when we register for an account, we have the ability to create super admin accounts and admin accounts. So from the point of security, that is a major concern. Like if anyone knows the endpoint, then giving this field directly exclusive over that portal for super admins, that could be a major concern for security.
Yeah, actually the feature for the register was under the Soumya's condition. So she was the one that gave the idea to register. In my flow, the register was not even an option, and the only super admin could create another super admin. So I think that answers.
Okay, so what you're saying is that an admin can create a super admin under the current situation?
Not under the current situation. In the current situation is that like anyone can register.
Okay.
And there was one feature that would be added afterward, which is passing the request. Like it is not just directly registering; it is just making a draft, and it's in process of registering. And if some super admin will like accept the request, then only it will.
Okay, so there is some amount of protection. Okay, so we need to address this. All right, we need to bring this up with Soumya, the two of you, depending on availability. Okay, that's good to know. The design is much better. I'm glad that we spent the time earlier in the GSoC period to really make it look more like the mobile app. I'm glad to see that we've got that functionality. The ability to switch between organizations looks like it's much smoother than it was before. That's also good. And the flow looks more intuitive. So that's also good as well. Jason, I know that you're Yasharth's mentor. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, not many actually. The only concern I had was just being able to register as super admin. I would just make that to be like registered organization instead. of like registering super admin.
Right. Yeah, so we probably need to make that an issue so that we can keep track of that. That'd be really good. Okay, Sagar, you have a question. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Yasharth. That was good presentation, and you have done excellent work. My concern is I did not understood which part you have done on the designing side clearly, like which part Soma did and which part you did.
Yeah.
And same for the registration as well.
Yeah. So the part that Soumya did, like there was she made the one static design, and I was the one updating it. Like the flow was updated by me because in her design the only admin could log in and only one organization could be log in at a one site, and thus this organization list idea was given by me and made by me, and in the registration part, like UI was created by Soumya and I created the backend, like, linking part.
Okay, got it. Are you guys also using LRU cache mechanism which Rutvik has implemented for the events and organization list updating and all?
I can't understand, sir. Could you repeat, please?
Yeah, sure. For showing the organization list and all CRUD operations on the Talawa admin side. Similar for the events, are you using any LRU cache mechanism or just some pagination?
Yeah, not yet, sir, because the data was not so big, so we are not using anything.
Okay.
Okay, so based on that, we have an opportunity to improve the code base. Then that's a valid question. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions from anybody else? All right. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure listening to all of these presentations. Ritik, Utkarsh, Rutvik, Sumitra, Yasharth, thank you very much for taking the time and effort to make the presentations, and the fact that the presentations went so smoothly is really a testament to the amount of time and patience and effort that you've put in, not only to the code base, but also into the professional presentation of what you've managed to do. This is very encouraging, and I'm glad that we've had the opportunity to see this. On the behalf of the Passios Foundation, I really would like to say thank you very much for the opportunity to work with you. You have provided us with a lot of insights into some of the pros and cons, the strengths and weaknesses of the code base, the amount of time that you've spent to streamline the Talawa code base has been really impressive. We are at a point, I think, where we would like to start seeing organizations starting to use the Talawa app, maybe in a school situation. So just to give you an idea, we're thinking of introducing Talawa to a number of university students in Jamaica to see whether they would be interested in using this for their internal purposes. And I encourage you to get in contact with me to see whether you think this would be useful for some of your clubs in your own universities and colleges. And at least we can use this to get more awareness of what we're trying to achieve, and then see whether we can get more contributors as well. We want this to be a universal product. We're trying to find ways in which we can make it more accessible. And if you can think of any ways, please let us know. It's been a very, very interesting pathway for us. And I must say that I am very thankful for the opportunity to have worked with you. The projects have stretched us, not just in terms of the technology, but also in terms of us trying to think of ways to create a sustainable product on an ongoing basis, and trying to find ways in which we can get people to continue to use it. So thank you very much. And if there's any other questions, please feel free to ask. Yes, Ritik, please go ahead.
So, basically, the GSoC has almost ended.
Yes.
For post GSoC contributions, I had a query what will be the procedure after the GSoC for contribution?
We will try to. I think the best way to do that would be to continue along the methodology that we've been using so far. That is to create an issue, get it approved by one of the mentors or one of the existing people in the repository, and we continue with that. We may, based on our experiences, we may want to expand the persons who can approve some of these pull requests, but that is preliminary. I'm just saying this without actually discussing this with anybody yet. So we may want to start thinking about that. That may be good. And also, if you have any comments or suggestions as to how we could make it a little more efficient, that would be very welcome as well. When it comes to ways in which we can improve the whole process, as you know, we try as much as possible to be as open as we can, and we really try to entertain all the suggestions that we can get so that we can make this an overall better experience. So feel free to give us some suggestions and let us know if you feel that that methodology will work or not work, and so that we can make sure that this continues onwards. Another thing that we could probably also consider is, if you are a contributor to the GitHub repository, we could potentially also have letters of recommendation that we could also provide based on outstanding contributions to the code base. So that could be another thing, possibly for things like jobs and the like, that may be good for recommendations. So we could also consider that as well as a incentive to continue with the contributions as well. So once again, let us know, and we can continue to work with it. We are not going away. We're going to continue with it. We fully expect students from across the world to start getting interested in the project in the October timeframe, and anticipate getting themselves ready for GSoC for 2022. I really, really, really would like to see how we can get the projects in at least an alpha state for students to start testing it in their own organizations, so that we can have something that would be definitely a very strong beta by the end of GSoC 2022. And we will be applying for GSoC 2022, and we hope that we will be successful again. I think based on the great improvement in what we've managed to achieve, I think we have a fairly good chance of it, and we'll see where we can go from there. But that's really all I can think of at the moment. Thanks. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else? Any questions, comments from any of the students, any of the mentors? Nothing. All right, so I want to make sure that we keep our... Yeah, go ahead, Sakar.
I would like to thank all the mentors and students, and I hope student will continue contributing to our project, because that's one of the motive of GSoC. You guys have learned so much during this GSoC period and knows the code base very well. So please keep contributing, and now it's the time for you guys to mentor new students. Stay with our organization. Thanks.
Thanks, Sagar. That is seconded by me most definitely and most strongly. Anybody else? All right, so I want to end the call today. I want to make sure that I want to be respectful of everybody's time. We will continue to be on the Slack channel. We'll continue to be on the issues. All of you have my contact information, all the mentors' contact information. We will continue to have mentor meetings for at least 1, maybe 2 more weeks to sort of wrap up some of the stuff that we've done so far. In November, October, GSoC has said that there's going to be a mentor conference of some sort, so we'll probably hear some more information on that, and maybe we'll be able to tell you what comes out of that as well. So that's something else we will be thinking about too. All right. One of the things that I would ask you, the students, to think about is, at the moment, we have the Slack channel, but we don't have a way to make people just join it automatically. And I know that we can put the Slack channel link in some of the, in like the issues, or maybe a pinned post. We need to find a way in which we can get people to join the Slack channel easily, using a link that is hopefully automatically updated accordingly, so that we can get more and more interactive discussion. Because yes, the issues are good and they work fairly well, but as you know, we have a very great time difference between the 2 groups of persons on the project, and trying to find ways in which we could use Slack more effectively for more immediate communication would be good, and try to get more people involved in Slack, not just on the issues. So if there's a way in which we can post those links somehow in a way that we don't get spam, that would be really good. All right, so Yasharth, you put up your hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. I have an idea regarding it.
Yes.
There is one workflow in the GitHub called greetings, and in that greetings workflow, we can add the sending email action. There is also one more GitHub action which sends the email according to the email ID given. So we could use that. Like, we could email all the first timers the link of the Slack channel.
Okay, good. That'd be good. But also it'd be also good to have the link placed somewhere else as well, so that somebody who just sort of wants to get an understanding of what we're about can contribute without necessarily opening an issue to get that done. Because some people are shy, they may want to just look around and see. So we need both something that will work for the bolder types of contributors, and then also for the people who are sitting back and playing a more passive role. Ritik, but that's a good idea. We should think about that to maybe create an issue for that. Ritik, what do you have to say?
Like in the GitHub repositories, we have an about section for the repository. Currently, we have one link over there for the Talawa docs. We can add one more link to the Slack channel that can help users directly join the Slack channel.
Right.
For creating the issues or any PRs.
Yes, the Slack channel link lasts for 30 days. So it'd be good if we can figure out a way in which we can do that update automatically. But yes, that'd be another good point. I thought that the about page could only handle one URL, so we need to think that through. But that's another good point as well. Can probably create an issue for that. Okay, I think I saw Sumitra's hand going up. Sumitra, please go ahead.
Yeah, Slack actually provides an API. We can for the cases of GraphQL or any other piece of software, in the main website they provide on the top right side a join Slack button. So
right.
That can also be provided with the API implementation for that in the backend. So it could be also done. Like a large number of users might be able to join easily after that.
But that would be the users of the Talawa app, not so much the developer community, correct?
No. I'm saying on the website, like when I search for the Palisades organization, I went on to like the GSoC page. I searched the organization.
Oh, I see. Okay, so we could put it on palisades.org website as well.
Flag button on the top right.
Right.
That's
Yeah, it's what I want is to have something that would be automated, because what that means is that because the Slack URLs expire every 30 days, then every 30 days we have to update it in 3 or 4 different locations. And we need to figure out a way in which we can update that Slack URL so that it's permanent, or not necessarily permanent, but it's updated automatically. So it'd be interesting to see how other projects handle that as an option too. Or maybe they just use issues, and then if people start, maybe just have the Slack for contributors. That may be something else to consider too. But this is something that I would like to try and figure out over the next week or so. So if you can think about it, create the issues that are related to it, and see how we can tackle this particular problem, that'd be really great. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. I really want to keep track of time for everybody. I know for some people it's very late, for some people it's very early. Thanks again, and we will be in touch. Okay. Goodbye. Thanks again. See you all.
Thanks for attending, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.